Danam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So, chapter 2, and we'll be starting the verse 13th. Okay. Dehinosmin yatha dehe Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram yauvanam jara Kaumaram yauvanam jara Tatha dehantara praptir Tatha dehantara praptir Dhirastatra na muhyate Dhirastatra na muhyate. Just as boyhood, youth and old age changes in this physical body do not affect the soul, likewise is the change to another body. Wise man never gets disturbed about this. Dhirastatra namuhyate means wise man never gets disturbed about this. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. The born one passes through babyhood, youth and old age. Okay. Kaumaram yavanam jara. The body does not remain the same. As we were discussing last week about the photo, okay? The changes are there. If we see our own photo 5 years back, 10 years back, the changes are there. So the body does not remain the same, but it always changes. It passes by stages through babyhood, youth and old age. I mean, it's a constant process, you can say. We may not notice, but there is nothing that, okay, on the 23rd of April, he turned 18, so now he is youth. So what happened overnight? It's a constant process. Yeah, maybe in the legal terms, in the definition of government, maybe that's a different story. So it's a process. It's always changes. The statement here, it says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe. Dehe means body. Dehi, the self. Proves that soul is separate and the body is separate. As we were discussing, sharir and shariri. Sharir, body, shariri, self, the atma. Here the same word are used for the sharir and shariri is the deha and dehi. Deha, body, dehi, self, the atma. So it proves that soul is separate and the body is separate. The soul is seer and the body is the seen. Hence, the changes of babyhood and youth, etc., in the body, okay, are not in the soul. The soul is changeless. This we must understand very clearly. Body changes. Soul never. Body transient. Soul eternal. Tatha dehantara praptir. As one does not grieve for the body when it passes through babyhood, youth, and old age. Similarly, one should not grieve when the soul passes on to another body. As babyhood, youth, and old age are different stages of physical body, so attaining another body after death is a stage for the subtle and causal body. Okay? Yeah. We don't grow up. I mean, yesterday I was child, now I became young. So it happens with the body. It happens with the life. It's just one life. And that life is also, I mean, it's for our understanding. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. It carries on. If we perceive in the right perspective, we come to know that the body does not pass through babyhood, youth, and old age only, but it changes every moment, as I told you earlier. Similarly, subtle and causal bodies are also changed every moment. It doesn't happen overnight. We may not notice, because it's a constant process. It's a constant process. The physical body is left by a soul when it attains another body. But subtle and causal bodies are not left until he attains salvation. He has affinity for them so long as he does not attain salvation. So basically, gradually, what we should learn that we should put in practice to unattach, to detach slowly. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. It can be, I mean, look, not necessary that attachment with 5-bedroom bungalow or the holiday house in Cape Town. even what, for an example, okay, if I'm attached for Geeta class, that is also an attachment. That is also an attachment. Don't get me wrong. As far as it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop from tomorrow and you are also going to stop from tomorrow. Meaning attachment, gradually we should learn. We should put in practice. Initially, all that material things, slowly, gradually, and we need to reach that state that yes, if it is there, fine. If it is not there, also fine. Also fine. Now, the question arises that when we perceive our physical body, but we do not perceive our subtle and causal body and their changes. Wakefulness, sleep, and sound sleep, respectively, are regarded as state of physical subtle and causal bodies. Okay, yeah. Physical body, wakefulness. Subtle body, sleep. And sound sleep, causal body. Sound sleep. Okay. So, the physical, subtle, and causal bodies in sleep dream. A baby sees itself as a baby. A youth sees himself as a youth. And an old man sees himself as an old man. It proves that a subtle body also changes. Similarly, in childhood, one gets more sound sleep than in youth and in old age. That is true with all of us. It okay. Further, in old age, the sleep it decreases slowly. It shows that there is a change in causal bodies also. Secondly, a man is more refreshed in his childhood and youth after sleeping than he is in his old age. It also proves the change in causal body. As we have discussed that. We will not notice, but it does. When one acquires the body of a celestial or a bird or an animal, etc., because of identification of the self with the body, one thinks oneself as the same. Yeah. Because the problem is the identification with body. Because I cannot be me, right? In another way, okay? What we say, it's my body. It's my hand. And similarly, we'll say it's my car, it's my house. So it's not me. Sharir and Shariri. Body and self. Okay. So similarly, the nature, habit of a celestial is different from that a bird or an animal. It shows change in causal body. A man passes through babyhood, youth, and old age, and thus there is a change in his body, but he experiences that he is the same because the Atma, the self, is the same. In the sacred book, this knowledge is called Pratyabhigna. This particular knowledge. What is that? A man passes through babyhood, youth, and old age, and thus there is a change in his body, but he experiences that he is the same. He is the same means the self, the Atma. And that knowledge is called Pratyabhigna. Tatte dantavagahi gnanam pratyabhigna. It proves that there is no change in self, no change in soul, Atma. You always say in Gujarati, Atma Amar che. Amar is immortal. Now, okay, before I proceed further, look, you might have a, you can be it confusion or be it question or be it concern. Concern, question, confusion. Okay, you can name it anything. That's all. We started with the whole Bhagavad Gita, and Jaydev Bhai, you did mention that it's on the battlefield and this, and then why this all that self and body and shariri? Rather, why can't they start the war? It's a Valid question. Or the concern, or the confusion. It didn't mean anything. The same chapter, in the same chapter, verse 7. Okay, you just had on the page. Karpanya dosho padasvabhava pruchami tvam dharma samhuda cheta yachreyam nishitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Here, the word shishya. Shishya is disciple. So, Arjuna has accepted that, oh God, oh Bhagavan Krishna, I am your disciple. Please guide me on the righteous path. Please tell me what is true for me. Now, once he has accepted the discipleship, then Bhagavan Krishna has to tell everything and convince him to fight. And you know that to convince, he has made a statement that Sishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Yes, in the 7th verse. But then again in the same chapter he asked that, and he told that I do not want to fight. So Bhagavan Krishna keep on telling him, keep on explaining him with the different reasons, different way to explain him. And towards the end, when I say towards the end, in the 18th chapter, Arjun completely convinced, and that verse we always recite in while we conclude the Geeta class. Nashto moha smritirlabdha karishye vachanam tava. What Arjun says? Yes, I will act according to your guidance. So it took 18 chapter. So if you have a question that why this, because once he has accepted that I am your disciple as a guru, it's Guru's duty to take him gradually on the righteous path. He's not going to accept everything once it is told. No. Because if Bhagavan says this, then he's going to ask something else. He's going to ask something different. And Bhagavan has to answer. Bhagavan has to clear all the doubts. Again, my dear friends, I always say that yes, Bhagavan has narrated this Gita. Bhagavan has told this divine knowledge, the treasury of knowledge to Arjun. But yes, don't forget that Arjun is our representative. It's not nice to doubt, but I always doubt that the Arjun who was always with Bhagavan Krishna, does he really had this kind of question? I can't believe that. But yes, Bhagavan has to give the knowledge to the world that's going to help thousands of years to the humankind. It can be you, it can be me. It's now, it will be there in future, and yes, it was there in past. It's serving since millenniums together, you can say. Not centuries, millennium. Years together. And that's why Bhagwan has to tell one after another, one after another. Okay, so this is the answer why the Deh and Dehi, Sharir and Shariri, Atma and body. Okay, now here a doubt comes to our mind that we experience a change in physical body, but we have no knowledge about previous bodies after getting the new bodies. Let me tell you, I mean, by keeping death in the life, okay, it's really a, we can't say to Bhagwan, but it's a wise step from Bhagwan. Just imagine if there is no death. Okay? Then it could have become a museum. Okay? And then somebody comes to our house and of course maybe we afford a big house with say 100 rooms, okay. and and in our house there might be, because if there is no death, then we must have the assembly point. Okay. And there is the assembly point, and and the newcomer comes to our house. Take it as an example. Also lighter note, don't. And somebody comes, okay, okay. Why should I give somebody else example? Oh, you come to my house, okay, and you ask me that old man who is sitting in that corner between east and north, how you related? Then I'll say, if I am not mistaken, he is my 30th generation past. My dada. Isn't it? Isn't it? So, death is important. Otherwise, it could become museum. Museum. So, and it's nice that we don't remember. If we remember that past life, past body and everything, then we always carrying all the grudges. All the grudges, isn't it? So it's a good thing that we don't remember that. Bhagwan has done very good thing for us. Okay. So, but we have no knowledge about our previous bodies after getting new bodies. The answer is that there is so much of pain. This is the answer from the scripture, okay? That what I told, that was on the light note, okay? There is so much of pain at the time of death and rebirth that one forgets one's previous birth. When a man suffers from paralysis or old age, his memory becomes weak. Similarly, by the pinch of death and birth, one becomes oblivious of his previous birth. And now I am going to give you the reference from the scripture, what I have told you now. It has written in Bhagavad also, and some reference are there in Mahabharata also. Okay, what Bhagavad says, Mriyate Rudatan Swan Nam Maru Vedanastadhihi. A man dies by becoming unconscious because of much pain amidst his lamenting kinsman. At the time of death, his breath stops and memory is lost. Viniskramati kruchena niruchvaso hatasmrutihi. That's again in Bhagavad. But one, it happens, but one who dies suddenly without any pain can have a memory of his previous birth. But that's also temporary, okay? The impression of the previous birth of those who die suddenly and then are reborn suddenly continues for some time. But as they grow up, the dream-like old memory is lost. And that is, the scripture is Mahabharata in Anushasan Parva. Ye mrutaha sahasa martya jayante सहसा पुनः तेषां पौराणिकोऽभ्यासः कंचित कालम हि तिष्ठति फॉर लिटल व्हाइल तस्मात् जाति स्मरालोके जायन्ति बोध संहितः तेषां निवर्ततां संज्ञां स्वप्नवत् सा प्रणश्यति. What it says, sometime, but as they grow up, their dream like old memory is lost. So the scripture has also told this, and I explain you on the lighter note also. When a man rises after a sound sleep, he says that he slept soundly and he was not aware of anything. Yes, that's experience to all of us. It means that he knows that he was not aware of anything during sound sleep. This knowledge of nothingness by the self proves that the self existed even during sound sleep. Thus, his own self existed before his sleep, during the sleep, and also after his sleep. The self, the soul, exists continuously. None feels its non-existence at any time. Rather, he feels his existence all the time, all the time. He who feels himself separate from the body realizes that he is liberated, and in that liberated state he ever remains so. In that liberated state he may not know what bodies he possessed in the past, but he realizes that he is separate from the body remains intact. Look, all the time, by the different angle or the different argument you say, okay, that Bhagavan wants to say that body and self, sharir and shariri, atma ane deh, these are, we must understand, not the same. Okay, my car, as I told you earlier, my car, my wristwatch, my laptop, but that's not me, that's not me. Okay, similarly, they and they, he, sharir and Shariri. That we must understand very clearly. Very clearly that we must understand. Okay, right. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. Dhira. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. The wise man. Dhi means buddhi, intellect. Okay, and that's why we have in Gayatri mantra. Okay, Dhiyo yo na prachodaya Dhimahi Bhurvuvasva Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo yo na prachodaya Dhirastatra namuhyate. Dhira, enlightened one, or wise man. The wise man, enlightened one, is he who can discriminate between the real and unreal. Such a man is never deluded and he is not reborn. Because attachment for the guna means tendency, qualities, modes. Because attachment for the guna is the cause of birth in good and evil wombs, and he breaks off his attachment with the qualities, the modes. Dhiras tatra namuhyate. You know, it's in the Mahabharata, whether it is mentioned in Mahabharata or not, but it is related with Mahabharata. Very good, but tragic story. Okay, Dhira. I'm going to share that story. Okay, Dhi, intellect, Raha, giver or bestower. Therefore, Dhira is an adjective describing a person who is able to correctly guide another and give good advice. Not like us. We always ready to give advice. That's not Dhira. We are discussing here Dhira. Dhirastatra namuhyati. Otherwise, each and every corner, each and every house, each and every community, there are always advisors. Always looking forward to advice. The three qualities that are descriptive of such a person are, let me tell you first in Sanskrit, Gujarati and Hindi, and then I am going to translate it. Three qualities for the Dhira. Okay. Even though you're going to write the translation, but I want you to write that the Gujarati or Hindi or Sanskrit terms also. Isha Vishwas, number one. First quality is Isha Vishwas. Okay. Atma Vishwas. And Samarpan. Okay, so the Isha Vishwas is faith in God, total faith in God. Atmavishwas is faith in oneself. And Samarpan means complete surrender to Almighty, to Bhagavan. I always tell that in our classes so many times that our scripture has created the can do mentality, not cannot do mentality. I can do. Confidence for the self, confidence for Bhagavan, and complete surrender. That will make one dhira, the intellect, ra bestower, giver. Okay. So after the end of the great wars, Mahabharata. I mean, the whole Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. Okay. The survivors were mourning their loved one. As I told you, is good but tragic story. They were mourning for their loved ones, especially Arjun. Because he has lost his young son Abhimanyu. Arjun was deeply grieved by the unethical killing of his son. His son's name is Abhimanyu. At this time, Bhagavan Krishna thought a change of environment would benefit Arjun. I mean, Bhagwan and Arjun, who the Bhagwan himself became a charioteer to ride the chariot. Of course, he must have the soft corner for Arjun. And he, in the 10th chapter, Bhagwan has mentioned that Pandavanam Dhananjaya, among the Pandav, I am Arjun. So he took Arjun on a Tirthayatra, pilgrimage. So Bhagwan thought, let's change the environment. That might help Arjun, because Arjun was deeply saddened. So what happened? One morning during the yatra, Bhagwan Krishna and Arjun were sitting under a tree. It was early morning, just before sunrise, you can say, the twilight. They were sitting under a tree when they saw a young Brahman boy picking some flowers. Upon seeing him, Arjun was once again reminded of his son Abhimanyu, and he teared up. Suddenly, that boy who was picking that flower, okay, suddenly the boy screamed and fell to the ground. Arjun immediately rushed to him and took the boy's head in his lap. The boy told Arjun that he had been bitten by a snake. He asked Arjun to his blind father the flowers he had been picking for his puja, along with the news of his death. Please take this flower, go to my father, give this flower, and just give this news that your son is no more now. And that Brahman boy passed away. Krishna told Arjun to come with him to the boy's father and give him this sad news. Now Arjun was but hesitant. But Bhagavan Krishna persuaded him. Then asked around the village at first. They went, and a small child directed them to that Brahman's house. So they asked that is in the village, that because they didn't know the name, that boy and the father either. They just could describe that one young boy about maybe 18 years, his father is blind, and the boy directed, are you asking about Yagnadatta? Are you asking about Yagnadatta's house? He described the house as being the one where even the parrots sang hymns from the Veda, from the scripture. So that will be the house. Go straight, and where you see that parrots are singing the hymns, believe that that's the house for the Yagnadatta. They reached to that house. The learned old Brahman, now we know the name, Yagnadatta, opened the door. Arjun identified himself that I am Arjun and here is the Bhagavan Krishna. Yagnadatta was overcome with devotion and fell to Bhagavan's feet. He asked Krishna to wait just a few minutes as his son was on his way with flowers, and Yagnadatta would offer them Bhagavan's lotus feet. Because he didn't know, because now that son is not going to come ever. So he just requested, please be seated, my boy is about to come now. After Yagnadatta spoke a few minutes about how brilliant and pious his son was, Arjun finally found the courage to give him the news of the young boy's passing. Yagnadatta looked shaken and fell to the ground. A few moments later, he composed himself, looked up to Bhagavan and said, didn't I tell you my son was the best? Look, even in death, he has given me the great blessing of your darshan. and even sent flowers for me to offer at your lotus feet. Bhagavan, as you deem it. Whatever you decided. Fine. Bhagavan then looked at Arjuna and said, you have heard the Gita. Yagnadat has not yet. He has summed it up in one sentence. Bhagavan, as you deem fit. This is someone who can be described as Dhira, faith in himself, faith in God, and complete surrender. Complete surrender. Dhirastatra na muhyate. Look at this. That poor man, blind, lost his only child. Of course, as a human, he was shaken for a while. But very next moment, what he says, even my child has gone. But he has made necessary arrangement with the flower and sent Bhagavan, you to my house. Tirastatra na muhyate. Tirastatra na muhyate. I don't think that now we should continue this verse now. We'll have to keep this for the next week. It's a tragic story, but with a very good message for all of us. For all of us. The dukh and sukh is coming and will be going. Even if it is sukh, it will go. And the dukh also will be gone. Will be gone. Dhirastatra na muhyati. Dhirastatra na muhyati. So, my dear friends, in today's discussion, in today's class, whatever you like, whatever you understand, credit goes to all the saint, all the scripture, all whatever I have studied, I have read, I have heard, absolutely nothing belongs to me. I am just serving, okay? Try to share with you whatever I have read, I have heard, I have studied. As I told you, and I keep on telling that our main reference book for the Geeta class is Swami Ram Sukdas Ji, Sadhak Sanjeevani. That particular story with that Arjuna and Abhimanyu and Krishna Bhagavan and that Yagnadatta, that I have heard the discourse of Bhupendra Pandya. Of course, he has narrated in one of his Gita talk. I thought this is very nice. Let me share with you also. So again, I can't take the credit. I can't take. Even Bhagavan Krishna has not put the copyright. In the 13th chapter, yeah, Bhagavan has mentioned Rushibir Bahuda Gita. Even Bhagavan has told to Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, what I am telling you, that has been said by so many times on different occasions by the Rishi and in the different scripture. So if Bhagavan do not want to put his copyright on the stamp, who am I? Okay, so I can't take the credit. Okay, we will conclude with our 73rd verse of 18th chapter. Okay. Nashto moha smrudir labdha tat prasadan maya achyuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava.